Hello and welcome to Reawakening the Sacred Self, finding the way back to our ancestral soul, where we're gathering together Indigenous elders, wisdom keepers, spiritual teachers, healers, visionaries and inspirational speakers to share their wisdom and insights as to how we can live a spiritual life that also enhances and strengthens our relationship with Mother Earth, who is the guardian of our ancestral soul. Hello, my name is Frances Billinghurst, your host and creatrix for this event, and I'm coming to you from Ghana country, where the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains are the traditional custodians. So, Mani Napadni, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. I am delighted to welcome Mirabai Devi. Welcome, Mirabai.
Thank you, Frances. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for being part of this event. For anyone who is not familiar with her work, Mirabai is a world-renowned spiritual teacher, heart-centered inspirational speaker and presenter. She is a channel or a conduit for divine light, a global healer, author, and founder of the Mirabai Devi Foundation, which is a non-profit organisation dedicated to her mission of raising world consciousness through the awakening and healing of humanity. Born in South Africa and currently living in Hawaii, Mirabai has been devoted to the awakening and service of humanity for nearly 30 years. Her global programs and group healings have transformed the lives of millions of people as she's traveled throughout the world. And the title of Mirabai's presentation is Awakening Your Sacred Self Through Direct Guidance for Your Soul's Evolution. Mirabai, I feel deeply honored to be talking to you today. Can we maybe begin with your own personal journey, since you've been doing this work for such a long time? How did you begin, or even know that this was your calling? It was your calling to do this really deep, soul-focused work, not only for your own self, but also stepping in and sharing it with the world.
I knew that this was a calling and that I needed to do this work not only for myself, but also for the whole world, because I started with a direct relationship with the divine light and the divine light beings who appeared to me around my bedside when I was 3 years old. And from that time, they started to work on showing me the different realms and the different dimensions and taking me out of my body, astral traveling from 3 years old to 7 years old, and showing me the different worlds and planes where people were suffering, and showing me how they pushed light into people and lifted their hearts from darkness into light. So I started training between 3 and 7. And that was how I knew that not only was I here in training with the light beings to help those that were suffering on Earth, but also to help those that were suffering on other planets and in other dimensions. And then went forward to receive a lifetime of training. And that lifetime of training on the inner planes was such a deep and profound calling that I really gave up everything else in my life, surrendered to the divine, and have been used as an instrument for the divine and for Divine Mother since 1991. Does that answer it?
That certainly does. It's absolutely amazing. Now, you did mention the Divine Mother, and this conference is in relation to Mother Earth. So are they the same thing? do they maybe be different? Are they referenced together? How would you explain that?
Thank you, Frances. How I would explain that is Divine Mother is a universal, omnipresent energy or consciousness that is unmanifest and also manifest throughout all of her creation. And she appears in a whole variety of different names and forms. And one of her embodiments, one of her vast varieties of different embodiments, is an embodiment as Mother Earth or Bhuva Mata or Mother Gaia, Pachamama. And this embodiment, I would say, is still at a certain level in duality, and then at a certain level in unity, just like any soul or any spirit of any planet. Some planets have vast, vast consciousness. Their souls are light beings or stars, and they're connected to the office of the Brahma or the Creator, and they are connected to this vast omnipresent knowledge. And other souls of planets are hurt and wounded because they've been trapped or entrapped into duality or darkness or slavery. And so I'd say that Mother Earth is a beautiful divine goddess that is going through her own evolutionary process. And we can talk more about that, but you know all about that.
Yes, yes, yes. And I find it really interesting that every culture, every peoples around the world have their own names, their own connections with Mother Earth. And through it is a connection to the Divine Mother. And again, we have our own words for the Divine Mother, for this higher presence. And I feel that we really need to go beyond language or the difference in language and connect ourselves back into the true essence of it all, which is all the same. And through that, we can actually heal not only ourselves, but also the planet herself as well. What is the connection? What do you feel this connection is due to your vast work that you do? In, say, for the average person who wants to reconnect back with Mother Earth or reconnect with the Divine Mother, what are some of the steps, how you feel that they can start strengthening or opening their relationship?
I feel that some of the steps that they can do or take to start opening their relationship with the divine and with the Divine Mother and Mother Earth, who is an embodiment of Divine Mother, is to surrender their ego, which is arrogant, and humble themselves to becoming a servant or a steward or a child of the Mother. And instead of how can we dominate her or get what we want out of her or from her, it becomes how can we serve her? How can we heal her? And how can we support her so that she is loved and revered by us as her children, in the sense of her being the mother of our embodiments, because she's given birth to us. We are wearing her bodies. Our bodies are made out of her stuff, her elements. So I feel that in connecting with the inner self or soul, which is divine, which is the light, and connecting with her soul and her heartbeat and her essence, which is divine, which is the light, which is this vast expanded consciousness, our souls can connect and work together in a beautiful, harmonious orchestra of sound and light and music to connect on the inner planes, and even internal prayer or internal words can be exchanged if we're open to develop hearing and seeing. Our inner ears and our inner sight and our inner heart.
From understanding what you're saying correctly, you said surrender, so it's allowing ourselves that gift of silence and that opportunity to just be and open ourselves to her words, to her messages. Is that correct?
Yes, it's about being an open vessel. And when we're an open vessel or a hollow pipe, then we're able to allow spirit and light and energy to flow through us. But not only that, we can also open ourselves to the words and listen in deeply to hear her and to feel her and to know her, just like we would if we want to know and feel our beloved partner or our beloved child or even a beloved parent, and we really care and we want to know how they feel and how they are and how we can help support them. Same thing with our divine mother, Mother Earth. She's always talking to us and reaching out to us, just like any loving mother would. It's up to us to listen and do something about it.
Yes. And just thinking, for those of us so caught up in the modern world, which is rush, 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 so many demands of our time, how can we bring in some practices that will fit in with all the demands of family, work, so we can also connect with the divine mother? What are some of your suggestions from all your years of experience and traveling the globe?
The way to experience the divine mother through the veils or behind the veils of our busy, rushed, hectic lives is to move into a place or a space where we're able to connect up or connect in to our inner selves. And that can be done through doing a spiritual practice, even while we're driving or washing the dishes or in motion, like doing a mantra, speaking a mantra, or doing a prayer or a forgiveness practice or an affirmation, and especially some kind of an inquiry process where we lean into and feel into her and her needs and her feelings and her desire to share her love with us. And so, like any other thing, a gap has to be created, really. And that gap requires us taking either a very small amount of time once we're accustomed or tuned in to being able to quickly shift gears in and out of the veils, or if we have not learned how to shift gears in and out of the veils, then we need to practice it through meditation, through listening, taking more time to listen inside. So the start would be doing the practices, and then that would take us or lead us into a deeper meditation, and breath work also would help us ride the waves to get back to the silence. And in that silence, we can hear all beings. We can hear the divine voice. We can hear Mother Earth's voice.
I think I'm just making assumptions here that some people think that the practices need to be elaborate, but you've just reinforced that they can just be very simple. They can fit in while we're multitasking, doing everything else we do in our busy lives. It's more along the lines of a desire that we have, as opposed to making excuses. If this is something that we truly feel that we resonate with, that we're really wanting to do, we really have to start making the time and allowing the space. And it doesn't need to be a sacrifice straight away of everything like you've done. It can just be something very simple, as you said, like a mantra, a sacred prayer, a few moments, 10, 15 moments in our lunch break, just in contemplation. Wonderful.
Doing a breath work practice for 15 minutes on a lunch break would take you into your soul. It would calm your mind. It would bring your awareness to a acute state of listening. You would start to feel not only what you're feeling inside, but what's vibing back at you. And another way that's really sweet is just sending love. When you send your love out to creation and then open to receive and let creation flood you or shower you with love, and to feel the ability to receive back after you give out love, that giving and receiving cycle is also such a simple technique, but it helps to make that deeper connection with her. Because every being responds to love. Who doesn't respond to being loved?
So true, so true. And I do find that some people, some of us, we're very good at giving. So how can we also allow ourselves to receive, especially when it's unconditional love or it's from a divine source? How can, if this is a little bit unfamiliar to us, how can we sort of drop the protective barriers or our scare factors and allow her wisdom, her love to be received as well?
So how we allow her love to be received and allow ourselves to receive is we have to visualize the heart chakra and how it's built, the structure energetically. So 50% of the heart chakra goes out towards giving, and 50% of the heart chakra points inward towards receiving. And we all have this activated giving part of the chakra, but the inside part of the chakra, the receiving faculty is usually shut down or blocked because of pain and heartache and heartbreak and hurt and old deep hurts and not having forgiven. So when we open to receive, then we're also opening the heart. And healing the heart is when we remember that loving ourselves or self-love is what opens the heart towards receiving. Loving ourselves, self-love, and also being in a situation where you can forgive yourself, you can have compassion towards yourself, you can release yourself, you can forgive the people that have hurt you in your life, all of them, and release them so that your heart can open again and you're not protecting it so tightly that you can't let love in or you can't let abundance in. And when you open your heart to receive, then you can allow the Divine Mother's love in. Now, I want to remind you of something that people forget, and that is the very love that we feel that is unconditional is divine love. And that unconditional divine love that's in our own heart is the heart or the love of the Divine Mother. It's the same thing, really. We can never be separate from it or from her. So what you're doing is you're just rubbing and scrubbing the heart, which is like a mirror that reflects the light of the sun, which is the reflection of the light of the soul, to shine that light once the mirror is clean and reflect it from your soul back to the world. So that's a Sufi expression. They talk about polishing the mirror of the heart to reflect the light of the sun.
Wow, that's very, I would say, almost profound. I really like that idea of polishing, even for someone like myself, who I'm not the best at any sort of external housework, but doing my internal housework, I think, is something pretty high up there. And with this opening our hearts, this unconditional love, would this go beyond just our, say, our physical life? Would it help in relation to any sort of past lives or karmic debts or karmic pains or DNA or pains that have been through our ancestral lines as well?
Yeah. Yeah. So you're talking about like karma and how it forms.
Yes, and how we can carry it through and not being aware of it, especially if it's coming down from our family line or our ancestors, some pain that's happened in the past.
Yeah, the karma that comes down from our family line and our ancestors and our lineage, as well as from our past lives, is responsible for most of our pain and suffering, our physical diseases, our physical symptoms. It is the causal level. And we have to trace it back to heal not only physical, emotional, or mental symptoms that we're experiencing, but we also have to clear patterns. Otherwise, they pass down to our children and to our children's children, our grandchildren. And a lot of this is hidden because it's on the causal plane, and the causal plane is hidden. But it's actually the bloodline with our lineage is us. What our lineage is experiencing, what our lineage believes, is how we're carved, it's how we're made. It passes through the DNA to us directly, and our cellular memory never forgets. It retains all that knowledge or all that information, just like you would take a soft drive on a computer and you would imprint it with a memory stick and you would imprint programs. So in the same way, all these programs are running for you your whole life until you wake up and realize that you're playing out ancestral patterns, family belief systems, and that affects every level of our DNA in our lives. So to me, cleansing family and lineage karma and cleansing our past lives is really the place to start. And it's not just an evolved person that works on that. It's a starting point, because until all of that gets cleared, we're trapped. We're buried under a heap, a mountain of karma the size of Mount Everest.
For some of us, it could be like a huge task even to consider where to start and what's the best way forward. And I'm sort of thinking about, especially in this day and age where a lot of cultural, I wouldn't say wars, but the pain from the colonialistic overthrows and around the world are really might be coming to highlighting. I'm not really pronouncing my words properly, but it's in the forefront these days. And for someone like myself, who's probably from a British colonial background, and I can't understand, but I can see the pain that even if it's not my direct lineage has caused, it's somehow I'm connected to it. So I'm just wondering, for people like myself, what's our best way forward? And also for people like whose peoples have been suppressed, what's their best way forward from this point in time?
I really feel that the power of prayer and transmuting through prayer and light these dark curses on humanity and these chains that bind humanity into slavery, whether it's the enslaved or the slave driver, whether it's the perpetrator or the victim. We've got both sides are enslaved. And unfortunately, humanity is a slave race. And so people have come through lineages and generations of being suppressed and enslaved. And so empowering and waking up as an individual and rising beyond the mass collective consensus prison, I call this prison planet, is really what's going to free the generations and the lineages through the individual's awakening. When an individual awakens, it affects like a domino effect the entire lineage, and it starts to break the chains and free the suffering and the misery across the whole lineage, and we can actually clean the whole lineage forward and backwards. And so we're cleansing ourselves from that connection with the light of the soul, all the way through to cleansing our lineage and our ancestors, front and in front of us and behind us, So that individual that self-liberates like that is actually impacting the whole planet, because so many great ones have come here and seeded the light over eons of time on this planet. And those seeds of light are activated. And all we have to do is fan the flame and activate those seeds of light and bring more and more light into the planet and into our lineages. And at some point, the game's going to change.
Sounds wonderful. It gives us hope that all we need to do now is, or from this point, if this is a path that we're choosing and it is our choice, that we can actually move forward and also heal the past, this awakening of our own soul self, and in a way an ascension, which is all about soul evolution and the benefits it can have on the collective as well, not just for our own self-worth. So this sort of brings me into another question. This work that you're talking about, the soul evolution, the awakening, the ascension, again, you've been doing this for such a long time. So how did it come? I know we sort of touched on it briefly with your own awareness at a very early age. How did it come to be your focus with all the movements that you have, all the work that you've been doing over the last 30 years all around the globe? How did you use this, realize that this was your focus and keep on that momentum, that you're surrendering yourself to the light, to this divine healing journey of other people? It must have taken a mighty toll on your own self.
It was growing up in South Africa and being around apartheid and the separation of humanity and the cruelty of separating, dividing people, and then mistreating masses of people, that created a subterranean, unseen revolution that really exposed me to huge amounts of suffering, and seeing how people were in so much pain and wanting to change the country and change the world and make a difference. And it was traveling on the astral plane with masters, divine masters, and divine incarnations and high masters of light since I was 3 years old, right through until I was 21 years old, and them showing me the suffering that was not just on the earth, but was on so many dimensions and so many planets throughout the multiverse, that I pretty much kicked into gear with how can I help? How can I be of service from really 3 years old? And so my whole life I've been dedicated and devoted to this. But it was really only when I was empowered with the tools to help and to help individuals to heal first was my primary modality, and learning was healing people in groups and in individuals. And then through healing, they could awaken, because if they were in so much pain or suffering, it's like a starving human being needs to eat food, healthy food, and be given nutrition. You can't give them necessarily spiritual enlightenment first. You have to feed them physically. So in the same way, healing people's minds and bodies, and putting Humpty Dumpty back together again, the clay vessel that was broken, to be able to hold as a basket, to hold the fruit, which is the light and the psychic abilities and the awakened, empowered abilities to step out of being in the victim or the martyr and be an awakened, empowered, liberated soul, takes a lot of building steps and levels from the ground up first. So it was learning how to do it with individuals, and then taking the model of doing it with individuals and then applying it to small groups, and then large groups, and then very large groups, and seeing that you could actually impact mass consciousness in a large group of people all at once, and seeing change happen and rippling through the crowd and getting feedback from the crowds that they were having direct awakenings or direct healings. Left and right, really, was when I realized the power of divine grace that comes through Divine Mother to bring about transformation just in a couple of minutes like that. And so I became very, very addicted at the age of 21 to reaching the whole world in as quickly as possible, really. So before we went over the cliff's edge and destroyed ourselves. And so I devoted the last 31 years with a passion to working night and day, 24/7, to save humanity from themselves, from destroying themselves through awakening and through healing. And I think at this point, I came to realize that I'm really here to help the souls that are ready to wake up, that want to wake up, that want to make the ascension process, and that want to go back home to the light. And those that are still asleep, well, when they're ready, let them sleep for now. And that's a level of acceptance and maturity that's come over doing the work for so long.
Yes, and this is probably why you've got a number of global movements happening. You seem to be extremely busy your whole life. You said it's dedicated to this. So with I understand 4 global movements that you have. You've got one which is the Divine Feminine Movement. Would you like to speak a little bit about that? What that is about?
Yeah. So the Divine Feminine, which is the Divine Mother, is a universal consciousness that I've been channeling. And this consciousness has come through me and embodied within me in a variety of different forms of Divine Feminine or Divine Mother. And she specifically brings about the quality of ease and grace and speeds up healing rapidly. And she also transmutes karma. She takes karmic episodes or series and reduces the karma, which reduces the suffering, which helps people to learn their lessons a lot faster. And so I started to give darshan, the transmission of divine light, really about 31 years ago onward. And this has brought about such a great level of transformation amongst humanity that I feel that the primary purpose of me being here in a body during this time is to serve Divine Mother's mission, which is to help humanity, and not just humanity, but nature also.
Right, and I understand too that you also have a training school, the Light Worker Training School, and that's currently online. So anybody could come along who's interested in this work can come along and undertake teachings and training from you. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that's exactly right. Yeah. So the first thing is the darshan, or the light transmissions, can be transmitted to individuals or large groups. And I do that in every workshop, every teaching, every class, every program, because every little light, every little bit of light helps a person to transform or to feel free of pain or to get over some condition that they're dealing with. And it makes everybody happy. Even animals love it. Children love it. And so imagine how much Mother Nature loves it as well. So I started the Lightworker Training School after that, after giving the global darshan light transmissions and that movement, to bring together the individuals that were ready to work with the light and to learn how to work with the light, and to help those in their communities and their families to work with the light, but also to work on their own awakening. And so that school right now is virtual. It's on Zoom. Anyone can join from anywhere in the world. And we had it located at venues around the United States, but then we consolidated it in to one Zoom platform with multiple classes, and the school goes twice a year online. And that way it's actually much better, because then we have people joining together from different countries and different cultures, and we're able to all awaken together, which is very exciting, rather than just that limited to that city or that timeline.
Yes, considering this is something that is needed on a global basis all around the world, it's wonderful that people now are having access regardless of where they live. So thank you on behalf of everybody for that opportunity.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's really important in the Lightworker Training School. We learn a lot of practices, spiritual practices, and we do those practices every day because there's no reason really for people to suffer. If they're burning and transmuting their karma through doing practices, spiritual practices, and they're getting worked on regularly by divine light transmissions, and they're doing their own inner work and soul searching, the suffering really reduces to the point where they start to just flatline, where they're in an even equanimous place. They're not in all the roller coaster of life anymore, which throws you into so much trauma and drama if you're not doing the work. So it's my dedication to my students and to humanity to always be there to teach that which I was never taught by a physical teacher as much as by non-physical teachers, although I did meet wonderful teachers along the way. But the majority of my work and training came from non-physical beings of light.
And I'm asking this, I think, on behalf of people who crave wisdom and knowledge and wanting to take the next step forward. What is your message for people who are listening about how each of us can contact the great light beings so that we can do our part to uplift the consciousness of the earth in these troubled, very chaotic times that we're still going through?
To contact the great light beings, you must go into meditation and bring your awareness on your breathing and let go of your mind, your thoughts, your personality, and start to pray and talk and communicate with the great light beings and ask for the veils to be lifted or removed or released, and see if you can receive guidance from your inner self or from the great light beings as they whisper or speak or talk the answers into your ears, your mind, your heart. And also ask them to bring more help, more light, to not just to the planet, but to your life. Ask them for little things and big things, not just to transform world suffering or world pain, but also to help you on a daily basis and go help you manifest the things that your intentions and that you need or desire, so that you're in a direct relationship with them where you're working as a team. And drop the concept that you're alone. You're never, never alone. You are literally surrounded by your light being teams at all times. And your higher self, the part of you that thinks it's alone, is not who you really are. So work on dropping that false identity that you are separate, you're alone, you're deaf to their words, you can't feel them, you can't hear them. That's just a story that you've been brainwashed into believing, because the veils of separation are so thick. The Maya, the illusion on this planet, is as thick as pea soup. So we've been trained to be swimming through the mud rather than refining our lotus blossom that is floating in the mud and being the essence of the soul, the light, the divinity. So as you refine and practice, even if in the beginning you're just asking and then you're listening and then you're becoming one with, it's a developmental process, but you've got to start somewhere.
Yes. And if people who want to take this work further, they can, so as we mentioned before, maybe check out your school and learn some tips and techniques there, get into a practice, into a discipline, and who knows what can emerge from there. And I really do love the analogy of the mud and the lotus flower. I think that is absolutely divine, because the lotus flower is such a very powerful image, something so exquisite emerging from chaos is simply so uplifting. So, well, we're almost at the end of our time. I would like to thank you for all you have shared with us today. It's absolutely mind-blowing what you have gifted us with your knowledge. And I also want to make sure that everyone in the audience knows about the very generous gift that you are bestowing upon us. So I just want to invite you to say something about this gift, which is a month's free access to your membership portal, which is called Power of Love. And the link to that will be listed below. But if you would like to just maybe explain or give some tidbits as to what people can hopefully find if they take advantage of this membership offer that you're offering.
apoweroflove.com is our membership online portal, and it's actually a gift that I'm giving to each and every one of you should you choose to take me up upon it. And that is you have free access to whichever month that we offer, and each month I give a spiritual teaching on a topic with a theme that's most relevant to you and what's happening to you in your life. And with that theme topic, spiritual teaching, I give mantras, forgiveness prayer practices, a guided visualization that's an audio recording that you can listen to anytime you want to relax and meditate with it, along with the video of a light transmission. And the light transmission is specifically individually for you to use uniquely to heal your body or your situation that's going on in your life. And it's related also to the theme topic that's helping you go through what you've picked as a topic to help you with currently with what's happening in your life right now. And then that whole series of the article, the teaching, the mantras, the affirmations, the prayers, the light transmission, the guided visualization, you have a complete month of material to do inner work with. And that is coming I've channeled it through. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours channeling this material and putting it onto this A Power of Love website, so that every month individuals can have spiritual tools, and also to create a legacy that when I'm no longer in a form to give the weekly teleconferences and weekly classes that I teach online on Zoom, people can actually have access to a vast library of spiritual wisdom to quench their hunger and thirst and to be fed by. So this is just to give you a taster of that.
It sounds absolutely wonderful. And as you said, a taster for, especially if people are unfamiliar with this, so they can put their toes into the water, so to speak. And not only that, then they have access to, especially meditations. I'm a big fan of meditations anytime that they feel the need for that. So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Mirabai. It's absolutely been a delight to have you here and gifting us with your wisdom. And for those watching, please make sure that you take advantage of this beautiful gift that's on offer. I would like to say, Naitalila, thank you to the audience, to everybody who's watching. I hope you've enjoyed this interview as much as I have, and I look forward to seeing you again. Great blessing.
Thank you.